Sorry, Milan fans, but you guys got snubbed. What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Vince, and today we're talking the final roster of the Italian national team going to Euro 2020, Euro 2021, not sure. As you know, the roster has been extended to 26 players, and so I'm going to give you my take on the final roster that Roberto Mancini is going to bring to the Euros. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so he called up 4 goalkeepers. He's probably going to take 3 of them. It doesn't make sense to take 4. So I think the obvious is that he is going to start and take Gigi Donnarumma. I think that's a given. As for the other 2 goalies, I think what he's going to do is he's going to take a mix of experience and youth, and that's why I think that Salvatore Sirigu is going to book his plane ticket to the Euros. And for that 3rd goalkeeper, I think it's going to be a toss-up between Meret and Cragno. And my personal pick, I think he is going to take Alex Meret with him, the Napoli starting goalkeeper. I just think that, it makes sense to bring those 3. Napoli's had a pretty decent season, and I think he's had a better year than Cragno. I know Cragno plays with Cagliari, and they didn't have the greatest of season. They're starting to kind of turn it around, and they saved themselves from relegation. But I think for me, it's a no-brainer. Donnarumma is a starting goalkeeper. You bring a little bit of experience with Sirigu, and you have Meret kind of waiting in the wings. So for me, it's those 3 goalkeepers going to Euro 2020. Defense is a little bit, I don't think it's a little bit trickier. I think the right back position might be a little bit trickier. I think the other positions have kind of cemented themselves. And I think that's where Milan fans, especially at right back, are going to be a little bit angry and feel snubbed, because Calabria did have a good season, but he wasn't part of the provisional call-ups. I know Romagnoli kind of fell out of favor. I don't think that he would have been one of the center backs taken had he been called up to the provisional squad. So here are my picks. At left back, I think it's a very easy no-brainer pick. I think Spinazzola and Palmieri will be the left backs going to Euro 2020. Both of them have had great seasons. Both of them blast up the sides. They feed crosses. They're just like that attacking-minded, left back, left wing back. So I think that's pretty cemented. That position is pretty cemented for Mancini. As for center backs, obviously Chiellini, Bonucci have been the staple center backs for the Italian national team for quite some time. So I think their spot is locked up. I am going to take 2 backups to fill in, and I think those 2 backups are going to be Acerbi and Mancini from Roma, because I think they're going to need some depth back there. If I was the coach, I would take a total of 8 players in the back, 2 left backs, 4 center backs, and 2 right backs. It's the right back position that is a little bit trickier. For me, I think that Alessandro Florenzi is going to be the right back, the starting right back at Euros. And then I think it's going to be Di Lorenzo from Napoli. I think those are your 2 right backs. It was kind of a toss-up for me. I thought maybe Lazzari from Lazio would be the guy to kind of back up Florenzi, but for me, I think it is going to be Di Lorenzo, and I think that's kind of the setup that you're going to see. You're going to see about 8 defenders going to the Euros. And remember, this is going to be, I'm going to give you 23 players, and then I'm going to add in 3, so you'll see who my extra defender is at the end of the video. So with midfield, this is all going to depend on if Marco Verratti is going to be healthy. If he is healthy, he's a lock to start in this midfield, as well as Jorginho, who wasn't called up because he is playing with Chelsea. But as long as he's healthy and stays fit and doesn't get injured in that last game, he's a lock to start, as well as Barella, who's probably been the best midfielder in Italy this season. So I think with those 3, those are your starting midfielders. I think he will take 3 reserves. He'll probably take 4 reserves, but the 3 that will probably fill in behind these three starters would be Lorenzo Pellegrini and Brian Cristante from Roma, as well as Manuel Locatelli. So I think those are your three backups in the midfield. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you my take on the extra midfielder he's going to bring with him. Okay, so for our forwards, we know that Roberto Mancini plays with a 4-3-3. So we're looking at a left winger, a starting striker, and a right winger. I think for the starters, I think we're going to see Lorenzo Insigne on the left wing for the majority of the tournament. He'll probably end up playing 90 minutes every game, depending on how far they go. As for the starting striker, I think it will be a toss-up between Belotti and Immobile from game to game, but I think those are your starting strikers. Unfortunately, Roma hasn't had a great number 9 that has translated success from Serie A to the national team since the days of like Bobo Vieri. Even Alberto Gilardino translated goals to the national stage, as well as Luca Toni. So I think it's going to be a mix of those two from game to game. And then on the right wing, I think Chiesa is a no-brainer. He's had such a great season at Juventus, which nobody thought would happen. So I think, with Insigne on the left, Belotti, Immobile from game to game, switching as the starting strikers, and then Chiesa on the right. There's 4 forwards right there. I think he will take obviously a backup on the left and a backup on the right. It's just a matter of who. Personally, I think he will bring Moise Kean and use him as a left winger. He's played there in the past. It might not be his most comfortable position, but I think we will see Moise Kean on the left. And he's also versatile in which he can play as a striker. So I think that adaptability will be good for the Azzurri. And then on the right, it's kind of a toss-up. I know Juventini are going to be mad that I'm not taking Bernardeschi here. I think it's going to be Domenico Berardi. That guy is just so good. I think he's underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit because he plays with a team like Sassuolo. I think this guy needs to be brought to a major tournament. He hasn't been featured in any other major tournament. I mean, we know that Italy didn't qualify for World Cup 2018, and he wasn't selected in the squad for Euro 2016. So I think this is his tournament. I think Roberto Mancini will take Domenico Berardi. And so those are my 6 forwards. Now, if we do the math, that's only 23 players. So now I'm going to give you my 3 players that are kind of the fringe picks, 1 on defense, 1 in the midfield, and 1 attacker. So here they are. So here we go. 3 more players to make the roster. I've picked a defender, I've picked a midfielder, I've picked a forward to round out the 26-man roster that Roberto Mancini will take to the Euros. So starting in defense, I think he is going to bring Bastoni from Inter. I think he will beat out a guy like Rafael Toloi, who just recently got called up to the Italian national team. A guy like Biraghi, I don't think will make the final cut. So I think Bastoni is, the pick there in defense. So there you go. You have 5 center backs that he's going to take. You have Chiellini, Bonucci. I picked Acerbi as well as Mancini. And now we've got Alessandro Bastoni. I don't think he needs to take another right back or another left back. I think Spinazzoli and Emerson are totally fine on the left. And then I had picked Florenzi and Di Lorenzo on the right. I think you're very versatile. You could play a guy like Chiellini on the left-hand side if you needed to. In a worst-case scenario, you could play Mancini on the right-hand side in a worst-case scenario. So I think Alessandro Bastoni is the logical choice to round out the defense. As for the midfield, this is a toss-up for me. I couldn't decide between Sensi and Castrovilli. This is a real toss-up. Sensi's been great for the national team when he's been asked to play. He's scored some goals, but I think the playing time with Inter is just not quite there compared to Castrovilli, who's been a regular at Fiorentina. He's a center midfield. I think he'd fit in well with this group of people. I don't think he'll start over Verratti or Jorginho or Barella. I think those are your staple people in the midfield. And, I think the people behind those 3 would be a guy like Lorenzo Pellegrini or Locatelli. So, you know, and I could be wrong. Maybe he's going to leave Cristante at home and take Castrovilli and Sensi, but I think Castrovilli gets the edge on Sensi for this one. And last but not least, I know people are going to be upset at me for doing this, but when it comes to forwards, I think that this is the dark horse pick. I think Mancini takes Giacomo Raspadori from Sassuolo. I know Juventini are going to be mad that I didn't pick Bernardeschi, but let's be honest. This guy gets very little playing time. He's averaging like 36 minutes a match. Raspadori has just exploded on the scene. He's been, you know, scoring goals for Sassuolo as of late. I think he's, you know, worked hard to you know, make this team, and I think this is kind of like the dark horse. And you know, I think we need to learn from the past and not make the mistakes of taking players that you know, maybe are not hot. You know, like I said, we saw in Euro 2004. Trapattoni took Corradi and De Vaio over a guy like Gilardino, and I think Italy, you know, greatly paid for that in that tournament. And so I know Raspadori is no Gilardino, but I think this kid is just a natural goal scorer. You know, he's got a lot of fire in him, and I think he has played himself onto this team over a guy like Bernardeschi. And to be honest, if you take Berardi and Chiesa, I think you're okay at right wing. I don't think you need any more wingers. So give the kid a chance. I'm rooting for him. I hope you are too. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment below. If you didn't like any of my picks and you want to leave your 26 players, go ahead and comment down below. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.